morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you may find yourself as you're listening to this and you're tuned in to the only sports podcast with brains and bars. This is another episode of It's a Black and White Thing with A1 and A Ward. I am A1, one half of the dynamic duo. Please remember you can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice, wherever you find a good podcast, searching for It's a Black and White Thing or hashtag brains and bars. Subscribe, rate, comment, all that good stuff. You can also check us out live on YouTube. Right now by searching for Brains and Bars. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. You can also check us out on social media outlets, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter by searching at Brains and Bars. And as always, I don't do this show on my own, but I got my homie, my ace in the building, A Ward. What's going on with you, sir?
Yeah, welcome back to episode 739. Is how many times we've thought about doing episodes.
So, that's a fact. That's a fact.
I'm not sure exactly what number it is, but yes. Thank you for watching. Thank you for popping up. I am A Ward on all social media platforms. Yeah, man, feeling good. I'm glad to be inside with air conditioning because it has been murderous heat.
Like this heat. Now, granted, I'm a summer person, right? So I don't never really trip on how hot it is outside. But like Sunday, I had to move my car. My wife was going out to dinner, and I had to move my car. And I'm like, yo, this is disrespect. Like, it's hilarious. The hottest I think I've ever felt in my life, bro.
I have a wife who has the money to go out to have dinner, and I had to use the legs that work to go move the car that I own. Yo, how many blessings?
Listen, listen, it's first world problems for sure. Because I'm like, it's never been like. I tell people the only reason it's this hot outside is for you to work out. It's the only good that can come from it. Yeah. Everything else is just like no. I don't feel like I've ever experienced this many triple digit days in terms of temperature,
especially like in a row.
Just period. Like in Kansas City, like I don't feel like it's ever been this bad. So I don't want to get into some debates about whether global warming is real. I just know it's hot than a mug outside. That's what I do know.
Crazy.
But anyway, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. I'm gonna tweet this out too, on my personal page on Twitter. Tap in, we're live now. You know what I'm saying? We got good show for you, a biased show a little bit, you know what I'm saying, because of some news that broke yesterday. So I'll get a chance to talk my stuff a little bit about the 49ers and whatnot. But we're going to talk a little battle rap. Summer Madness coming, you know what I'm saying, right of this weekend. So we're going to talk about that, give some predictions on that as well. But yeah, man, let's start in the world of the NFL, man. Like I said, the news broke. The big news that broke over the week, or I don't know, the weekend, but yesterday, is that Trey Lance is not only not going to be QB1, we all knew that was Brock Purdy from jump, but he's not going to be QB2 either. Sam Darnold is going to be QB2, and his future with the team is up in question, or is now in question, whether or not he'll be QB3. The Niners, after the debacle of injuries and that happened last year, being down to QB, 4?
Yeah,
in the NFC title game, Josh Johnson. They're going to carry 3 quarterbacks on the roster, right? The NFL made that change. You can have a QB3 as an emergency on your roster at all times. So they're going to carry 3 quarterbacks, whether that third quarterback is Brandon Allen or Trey Lance remains to be seen. And so, I said this last week. I thought that this was that the fact that they traded up and took Trey without knowing that he had the least amount of experience probably ever for a quarterback who's going to be drafted that high, and with the win now team. I didn't think about this at the time, right? This is hindsight, right? Monday morning quarterbacking, but it was a really bad decision. And that is now playing out in real time as they roll with Brock Purdy. So your thoughts once you saw the news broke that Trey was going to be QB3?
Yeah, I think you're probably in tune a little bit more with maybe message boards and just reading the articles and different things like that. But I didn't think that was even possible. I didn't know that it was a battle for QB number 2. And there's a few reasons for that, because mind you, let's say my plan is to trade Trey Lance. Don't I want to just go ahead and announce him as QB number 2 and ship him out with trade offers and then bring Sam Darnold up just to even give the appearance of you're getting, a guy that we think has been, really good in practice. You know what I mean? Like at this point now you're saying you can't even beat out Sam Darnold. So the leverage anybody has for trade value is why do I want this guy?
Yeah, I think his trade value was shot. I mean, the fact that he didn't take the job from Garoppolo, and I guess the thing is, it's such a wild deal because if you listen to people who cover the team, he was on his way to unseating Jimmy as a rookie in training camp. Then he suffers I forget, it was a broken finger on his throwing hand that affected him the rest of the year, right? And so he doesn't get the opportunity. He goes into the next season with the opportunity to be the guy, to be QB1. They play in that monsoon in Chicago. He and Justin Fields were both terrible, but I mean, again, the conditions were awful. He gets, I think, like 3 snaps in the next game and then snaps his ankle, right? And then you come into this training camp and it's just like, I don't know what Kyle Shanahan is looking for in a quarterback. So the one thing Brandon Allen mentioned when he got a chance to stand before the media is that this offense is really simple and it's easy to be successful if you get the ball out on time. So like if you have a 5-step drop at that 5th step, Kyle is saying someone's going to be open. Your first option, most likely, if that first option isn't open, your second most definitely is going to be open. Get the ball out with time and you'll be fine. Well, again, I think in one of our chats, right, somebody posted that he's had less than 500 snaps and that's less than like I forget what Loso posted. He posted something anyway, right? But I mean, like when you have somebody who's that raw and he's not polished, like what did you expect? I don't understand what you expected from him when he had that little of prep time, right? His last season at North Dakota State wiped out because of COVID. You can also pretty much cancel out that first season because of the throwing hand issue, right? So I mean, I just don't know what they expected out of him.
I think that's another thing is like even when they moved up to draft him, like he hasn't been coached by even near professional level coaches. He's because he got recruited by North Dakota State. I can't imagine his high school, playing was a high caliber, anything else that he was playing on an elite level. And so, now you're in this situation with the 49ers, but this is his 3rd year, right? So this is his 3rd year.
Yeah. But you got to remember though. Go ahead.
What I was going to say, the other thing is that I feel like that they announced Sam Darnold's taking the second job, and even the news media that broke the news was like Trey Lance's, I guess, career there is in limbo, and I don't know if that's something that they received from hearing from San Francisco or just saying because he's a 3rd guy. And my thought is this: like if you're the 49ers after last year, I mean, you would have loved, no offense, to had Trey Lance playing in that playoff game, right? And not a Josh Johnson. Right. So, you kind of like you're hoping like, it won't happen 2 years in a row. But don't you kind of, as a 49ers fan, want your 3rd quarterback to be something competent?
Yes. But again, like man, I feel bad for him because I feel like he got such a raw deal. You were drafted 3rd overall and you never. So I found the ESPN stat. 17 quarterbacks in the NFL last year threw more passes in this past season than Trey Lance has thrown it since high school.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
So yes, you want him to be your QB3. Brandon Allen, who was in Cincinnati last year, he came in and had to replace Joe Burrow for a little bit. He wasn't bad. Like he's a viable guy, but again, in Shanahan's
system, he played
in
Arkansas too, so he played.
From Arkansas.
He's played some, high level competition.
If the Niners can get my uncle jumped in here, shout out to my uncle, if a 4th round pick for Trey at best, if they can get a 4th round pick, he would be gone already. They would be through the roof. I would think right now, I think at this point, they're probably getting 6th and 7th round offers for him.
You think so? Because like I said, Josh Jobs just got, 5th round. Like why would the Cardinals not go out for Trey Lance over Josh Dobbs?
I think because Josh Dobbs has more tape to show that he could be a viable NFL quarterback than
Right,
Trey
that's
Lance. That's the problem. So I guess the other part of that is so the one thing I've seen people say about him, and to me, it bears out that the more he in this preseason, it started out badly, in part because the pass protection wasn't great, in part because he would not pull the trigger when people were open. But the one thing people have consistently said about Trey Lance is that the longer he plays, the better he gets. Right. So when he got he in his rookie season, when they had to win out to make the playoffs, he got the start against Houston when Jimmy was out for 1 week, and he was pedestrian the first half. At the end of the first half, they ran a 2 minute warning. It was a hurry up offense. He got them in the field goal range. They got the points. And then after that, he was really good after halftime. And so that bears out. But again, when you have a team that's ready to win now, you can't afford to have this kid kind of feel his way through because the locker room is going to be upset and unhappy when you have a kid in Brock Purdy who won 10 games in a row for you.
Yeah, that's
Right.
wild.
And I believe 12 if you count the playoffs. So he wins all these games in a row. He gets hurt. And now you got this kid who's healthy, ready to go. And you have another kid who has less experience, who has had less success at this level playing in his third season. And the locker room's not going to be unhappy if they're, say, what they were 3-4, I believe, when Brock Purdy got a chance to start last year. If they're 3-4 with Trey Lance at the helm and Brock Purdy sitting right there, they're going to be upset. They're not going to be happy. So I want to ask you this.
Now, does he
Go
get
ahead. Go
to
ahead.
play the entire preseason game to maybe hopefully have like a great preseason game to trade him off?
I doubt it. I doubt he plays again. I mean, I think they told him early Wednesday and let him go home so he could process right and deal with it. I doubt you see him. I'm pretty sure it's probably gonna. Maybe they do. Who knows, man? I just would give anything to have a season with my team without any quarterback drama. Just with hey, here's the guy. There's no issues, But I don't know. I don't know where they go from here because again, I know you said they got a fifth round for Dobbs, right, in Arizona?
So they traded Dobbs and a seventh and got a fifth.
I mean, they might get that if they send a seventh. Maybe. But again, his value to me, there's no reason in offering anything better than a sixth. In my opinion, I wouldn't give a fifth for him because you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And he still might not, you might trade for him, and he still might not play for you. So I don't know, man. Let me ask you this. Is this the worst trade in NFL history?
No, you can't put your eyes on that Herschel Walker trade and actually think that anything is ever going to come close. I mean, something might come close, man. But when you put your eyes on the Herschel Walker trade, and not only how bad it was, but then you realize it was like 89, 90, and then the Cowboys went on and won 3 Super Bowls within the next 6 years. No, after that, like. Man, you just can't. You can't look at that, bro. Like 3 first-round picks, whatever the second, fifth, seventh, something like that. And then he goes on 2 full seasons. That's it. 3 total.
So for those who are not old enough to remember, 1988, 89, the Dallas Cowboys traded Herschel Walker to the Minnesota Vikings. I don't have the list of players they gave up, but this is the total compensation. They gave up 5 players. 3 first-round draft picks, 3 second-round draft picks, a third-round pick, and a 6th-round pick for Herschel Walker. And I mean, that is unbelievable. I didn't realize it was that bad until I looked it up again. I didn't realize they gave up the 5 players. I'm just like, what did y'all think y'all were getting? Did you think you were getting Jesus? Who did you think you were getting to come to Minnesota to play for y'all that y'all gave up all of that for Herschel Walker? Shout out to Herschel Walker. Was that guy in college and had a solid NFL career, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
So a couple of other trades. See if it's worth. So the trade for Trey Lance, I believe, was 3 first-round picks. I think a third. Hold on, let me get it right. That's the one thing I didn't write down. So they traded up a third-round compensatory pick and first-round picks in 2022 and 2023. So I guess it's not as bad as I thought it was. But the Saints traded up for Ricky Williams. They got 2 first-round picks, 2 third-round picks, and one pick apiece in rounds 4 through 7. The other one that I thought that was in the running for with this Trey Lance trade of maybe not as bad, the Browns traded up for Trent Richardson. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
They went up to number 3. The Saints went from 12 to 5. The Browns, I forget what number they went from in the first, but they went up to number 3 to get Trent Richardson. Gave them a first-round pick, a fourth-round pick, a fifth, and a seventh. That's kind of crazy. To me, the Trey Lance deal is worse than
those are the ones. Well, I mean, we also have seen who Miami got, like the way that Miami's used those picks too.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Here's the thing about that draft though. And this is what makes it so devastating for me. One, this is on my Twitter. So if you do a search for Fields on my Twitter page, you'll see that I wanted them to get not Trey Lance. I wanted them to get Justin Fields. Right? I wanted them if the Niners wanted to go with the most pro-ready guy, they should have stayed at 12 and drafted Mac Jones. If they wanted to get the best athlete at quarterback, that was Justin Fields.
Yeah.
They tried to go for a mix of both, but they went with the rawest prospect of them all, and they got burnt. Right? But here's who they could have had they just stayed at 12. Micah Parsons. That's who went at 12. The Cowboys traded with the Dolphins to come up and get that pick. Can you imagine Micah Parsons and Joey Bosa?
Oh my gosh.
On each side? It could be one of the most dominating. It's already a great defense. Now we're talking about all time, right? They could have had Rashawn Slater, who's offensive tackle. They could have had Mac Jones. They could have got Jalen Phillips, a rush in for Miami. Kadarius Toney, Christian Darrisaw, another good tackle. If they want to go running backs, they could have had Najee Harris and Travis Etienne. So they could have had some really decent players had they just stayed at 12. And I won't bore everybody by going through who they could have had in the next couple of drafts had they just stayed put. But I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. And so to me, people go, oh, well, it's to their credit that they missed this badly, but they're still able to be successful. And I'm like, this is true. But if you had a chance to add a Micah Parsons, maybe you have a Super Bowl, even with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Because if your defense is if you have 2 rush guys that are that dominant coming from both sides, you talk about maybe more turnovers, definitely more stops, and more opportunities for Jimmy to screw it up somehow. But you still get more opportunities, right? So let me see. Well, do I have another question from this?
Who should trade for him?
So in your estimation, who do you think they should go after? What team should go after Trey?
I think it's got to be a team that has an established starting quarterback. I mean, I don't think that we at this point, I can only imagine his confidence is shot. You try to go to a team like the Buccaneers that is probably going to be a pretty bad team this year. That's not really going to help him. Just throwing him in the fire. To try to compete there. Even though that division outside of the Saints is pretty bad. But I think that you go to a team like the Rams or the Seahawks or the Vikings. The Cardinals obviously just traded for Dobbs, so they went ahead and got their backup, somebody they could play till because Kyler Murray's out for what?
At least he's still on the PUP list, so I would think he's going to sit out the first 4 weeks of this season, and then they can reevaluate at that time.
But the Vikings don't know what they're doing with Kirk Cousins. He's getting older, and it's not it might be a situation where, Kirk is a different pace of quarterback. You can come in, you can sit behind him. But also I think Matt Stafford and Geno Smith would probably be a great kind of tutor, to Trey Lance as well. So I'd say Seahawks or Vikings would be the 2 that I would go with.
So, I do think the Buccaneers should take a flyer on him, right? Because I don't know if Kyle Trask is the guy. I don't think Baker Mayfield's going to have a career renaissance there either. I think every team, you mentioned the Seahawks, but I think all the teams in the division should make an offer, especially the Rams. The Rams don't really have a viable backup behind Stafford. And I don't know what they have in terms of, to me, the Rams are kind of in this, we're not trash, but we're not great. And so you're not going to be in the position to go get a Drake May, a Caleb Williams, right? A Jaden Daniels, maybe. Bo Nix. It's kind of crazy that Bo Nix is being seen as that's another story for another day. Shout out to Sam Hartman. He might
He
be,
can throw it.
maybe if he has a great season in a pro style offense, maybe he's going to be one of those first quarterbacks coming off the board. But yeah, so I think if you're any of those teams in the NFC West, you absolutely send an offer and see what they say. I think the Falcons, because I don't know if they got Desmond Ritter, and I don't know if Desmond Ritter is going to be the guy,
Yeah.
right? And so, again, maybe it's not the greatest thing for his confidence, for Desmond's confidence, but prove it. I mean, if you're the guy, I mean, so for as an example, Jalen, they went and got last year. Who they had was
Mariota
their backup last year? No, I mean
the year
he's
before.
secure now. The year before, they went and got the stash, the kid with the stash.
Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew. They went and got Gardner Minshew. And there was, I mean, in the preseason, there were a lot of people clamoring for Gardner Minshew to be the starter.
Yeah, I
And I
remember
get
that.
he had some success, but there was pressure on him. And he, produced a gem of a season out
Yeah.
of it, right? So, I mean, nothing. Hey, Desmond, pressure can either make a diamond or can bust pipe. So, which
Mm-hmm.
one? So, I think if you're those teams and you're kind of in limbo, you're not sure you're going to be in the space for a top pick, NFC West. I saw somebody say the Chiefs, and I'm like, okay,
Stop.
whatever. Stop.
Stop.
But yeah, that's. I mean, let us know what y'all think, man. I like I said, I feel bad for Trey. I feel like he got a raw deal. He should have went to a team that could have afforded to allow him to develop. I mean, honestly, Kansas City would have been a great place just because of the
Yeah.
development side of it. And he could have sat behind and learned. And then if they needed him to be a spot starter, he could have been a spot starter. Maybe went on someplace else. But
It's
I hope that kid.
It's a tough world, You want to be highly touted and you want the money and stuff, but like the pressure of that and the fact that you're going to teams that aren't very good, you know what I mean, and different things like that, is very, very difficult.
Yeah, yeah. So I hope to be honest, man, I never root for anyone to fail. I want people to be successful, and I hope that he gets an opportunity. I would love to see I mean, no, that's not true because I don't want to see people get hurt either. But I wish there was a way without injuries
So we
being a
can,
factor for him to get a shot at being the starter in San Francisco and flourishing. And then, in a couple of years saying, screw you guys, I'm going to go someplace else and kill it. Because like I said, I feel like you got a raw deal. Y'all let us know what y'all think about this topic, man. Where should Trey Lance go? Is this a top five? Because Ward is right. The Cowboys trade is, I don't think you're ever going to outdo that trade in NFL history as one of the worst trades ever. But is it top three, top five? Let us know what y'all think. Where are some places that you think Trey Lance should play next year?
Yep.
One last thing on this Niners thing. This question from my uncle: has the Niners improved their O line? If not, they're going to need them. Their O line is a problem. Outside of Trent Williams, Aaron Banks is good. Center, I feel like the right side of the line is unproven, and it could be a problem. And they might be. I mean, hopefully they don't go through that again of three starters, but they could be in a space where they have to go that route again. And if Trey gets a chance to play and he shines, I would love it. I would love it, to be quite honest. But I don't want anybody to get hurt. So, all right. So let's jump to the NBA. So obviously this is the off season for them, but a little bit of news happened over. I think this is over the weekend for real this time. Um, Steph Curry was on with Gilbert Arenas on his podcast talking, and Gilbert asked him if he thought he was the greatest point guard of all time. He said yes. And he said, "All due respect to Magic, I think I'm the best," which I expect nothing less, right?
Right.
But
Robert
I'll
Griffin
ask.
III once said that he was the best quarterback in the NFL. So
Listen, so we're gonna get that Rob RG3 trade was listed as one of the worst trades, and I'm like, man, he got like offensive, he got like rookie of the year.
yeah.
He was rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year. Like he was really good. Like we can't act like he was trash from jump. The injuries are really what derailed his career.
Yeah.
Not that he was bad. So, but I mean, Steph said he's the greatest point guard ever. Do you think he's the greatest point guard ever?
He's the greatest point guard I've ever consistently watched. So semantics. So it's like, he's definitely the greatest point guard I've watched. The only other one that I think that could be up there to me is Jason Kidd and maybe Steve Nash. and that's my era, But I mean, obviously, what I've seen and what I've read and the stats and the all of that kind of stuff, like putting yourself above Magic or putting yourself above Zeke, is just not easy. It's not. There's a lot of people out there that from a different era that will go down fighting that Magic, And I think it's funny because I think they say, well, Magic played 1 through 5, or whatever it was, and it's just like, okay. I don't think he didn't play the whole game at center. I think he just probably was down there every now and then.
I mean, I guess technically you're right. I mean, again, game
He's not
6.
Shohei Ohtani. It's not like he just like literally like.
Listen, that might be a good analog. That's a pretty close. So here's the thing: he didn't play, and I want to give credit where credit is due. I heard a part of this discussion with Nick Wright and Bomani Jones, but Magic didn't play point guard out the gate. He played shooting guard to begin with, and then he moved his first 2 years. Then he moved over to the full-time point guard position once they traded Norm Nixon. That being said, when Kareem got hurt in the finals against the Sixers, as a rookie, 42, 15, 7, closeout game, NBA Finals. Like when people talk to me about who's the greatest Laker and all this stuff, and that's a whole other discussion for another day. And people want to go Kobe, and I'm like, all due respect, Kobe was amazing, right? Kobe definitely has the longevity argument over Magic. The first thing I start with is 42, 15, 7, rookie playing the 5, right? So, like, we get all due respect, Kobe was airballing jumpers in first-round playoff games as a rookie. We know what the career turned out to be. Again, Magic is the greatest point guard of all time, right? He spawned, I mean, the LeBron James that we see today, it happens because we had a Magic Johnson, the Penny Hardaways, even Michael Carter Williams, who was a rookie of the year. Anytime you see a 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" guy who is running the point, shot Lonzo Ball, you have Magic Johnson to thank for that. Spawned the golden era of the league. I think they went to the finals 9 times in 12 years, won 5 of those. I mean, between them and the Celtics split the team of the decade. And then again, when he came back he was out of shape, overweight. He was still really good. When he retired for 4 years because of AIDS, comes back and is still a really good player after a 4-year layoff. I'm sorry, all due respect to Steph. Steph is have you seen that meme of like these are the 4 most influential basketball players of the last 30 years? Have you seen that meme? No, You're not on Twitter right now. But it's not a new meme, right? It has Steph, Kobe, Jordan, and LeBron on it. To me, they slight AI, but that's another discussion for another day. And it makes me mad every time I see it because of that fact. But Steph is influential, right? He has revolutionized the game of basketball. Gilbert said it when he was talking about why he had Steph as the greatest point guard. You can't go to a gym and not watch little kids, high school kids, even adults try to pull up from half court 30 feet and shoot jumpers because of one man, because of Steph Curry. And so to me, I have Magic 1. I have Steph 2. And this is an edge. It's like here. Steph's slight edge over Isaiah. Like Isaiah is one of those people that he's going to be. I feel like him, Allen Iverson, Dwayne Wade's going to fall into this bucket. I feel like Larry Bird is falling into this bucket of you had to be there to truly appreciate how great they were.
Yeah.
Right? Because they don't have rabid fans like LeBron, Steph, Kobe, or Jordan who are going to fight tooth and nail for their place in history.
Right.
And so I feel like Isaiah Thomas has fallen into that place where unless you were there and watch what he did against the Bulls, against the Lakers, he's the only one to say, I beat them all. Right? Jordan ends up doing it later, but Jordan does it. Kareem is retired. Magic's hurt in 91. So it's not the same thing. Right? But Isaiah's the only one who could say, hey, in their primes, although you could maybe Bird, I think after 86 is the last great Bird season. But pretty much he went toe to toe with all those guys and got victories over them all. So Steph he's done enough to surpass him, but there's not a great separation for me in that regard, man. But I want to ask you one last question. This is off the cuff because I want to go back to that meme. Do you agree with that picture that Steph, LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan are the four most influential players of the last 30 years?
I would probably have to take Kobe off
and replace him with who?
I mean, I like the AI. The AI. I guess it'll probably have to be AI. Influential. I'm just thinking about like changing the game, like changing how people play the game, changing, if not AI, Dirk.
I can respect that. So the reason to me, there's a correct answer here, and the answer is Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson, maybe not from style of play, right? But in terms of cultural icon, he brought hip hop to the NBA. When you see a shooting sleeve, the headband, the tattoos, the cornrows, he brought all of that to the NBA. He is part of the reason why we have a dress code which I feel like it's almost non-existent at this point. But the hardcore dress code where it had to be blazers, button-ups, and slacks was instituted in part because of Allen Iverson and the impact he had on the game. So all due respect to Kobe. I think Kobe, obviously the Mamba mentality, all the players who have patterned their game after him, who looked up to him, all great props. But to me, AI over Kobe is the one that makes the most sense. LeBron, obviously, how he revolutionized the game. To me, he didn't. Let me ask you this. Do you think LeBron took what Jordan did from a branding level to get to the next level?
Yeah.
From a branding standpoint. So I think you look at how he revolutionized the game from a free agency standpoint of owning your career, what he's done off the court, not only from his marketing deals, but also his social activism. Although I can say some controversial about that too, but I'm not. I think, and then obviously Jordan, who revolutionized the game, and then Allen Iverson from a cultural standpoint. So we got this question: what's your definition of a point guard? Does Curry set the offense up, move people in the right position?
It's a good question. Basketball is just so different. You know what I mean? It's so different right now. It's not the same. Jason Kidd, bring the ball up the court, call a play, get everybody where they need to be. It's not that floor general so much anymore. But I think when you see what Curry is, like you see his high basketball IQ, you see whenever he gets the ball, he can facilitate. You see how hard he runs off of screens and making sure plays are set and different things like that. And that's kind of what the point guard is today. Somebody that can score, somebody that can facilitate pass-wise, and somebody that can make sure everybody's in the right spot,
Yeah, I mean, the game has truly changed. So the way that we think about point guard, we can't use that 1980s, 90s definition anymore. Steph is a point guard. I mean, I would have to go pull up his stats real quick, but I feel like he probably averages 5 to 6 points assists per game.
Assists, yeah.
I did say points, but 5 to 6 assists per game. So he's at 6.5, which is not bad.
He's for probably top eight in the league, probably.
Ooh, I doubt
8 or 10.
I doubt that. I
guess because everybody's passing these days, yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. 2023. Let me see. No. Let me see. This might be points per game. Assist category. James Harden led the league with 10 a game. So he's not. I mean, Domantas Sabonis averaged more assists than Steph.
I was thinking point guards.
Okay, well, let me see. Trey Young is on here. Chris Paul, John Morant, Luka. Luka's a point guard. We're calling him a point guard.
Yeah.
Westbrook, Drew Holiday, Damian Lillard, Fred VanVleet, Mike Conley, Trey Jones, Marcus Smart.
What do they average? Marcus Smart averaged 7 a game?
He's at 6.3.
So he's behind Curry. Curry was 6'5", right?
Well, no. That was all time. That's his career mark. Jalen Brunson, Killian Hayes.
Got you. Okay.
D'Angelo, I guess it's wow. Sheesh, where are you, Steph?
Go find him.
I feel like I'm gonna
4.8.
have. I feel like I might have. Did I pass him up and I just wasn't paying attention? I don't think so. Let me do one last thing. Let me look up. Oh no, he was no, he was at 6 point. He was at 6.3. Why am I missing him? Hold on. Let me see. Maybe he did. I don't know why I don't see him on this list. That's weird. But this is 22-23 season. But I'm definitely missing him. Anyway, but he's somewhere about top 15, top 16. So I mean, like I said, the definitions change. You have to view it from a different lens than you would have growing up. So let us know what y'all think. Who y'all got as the greatest point guard of all time? Do you have Steph or Magic? Or I know the homie Jesse is going to go Zeke. So or is it other? So hit us up. Let us know what you think about that. All right.
It's the first time you've lagged. It just lagged.
Am I good now?
There you go. We're back. Yeah, you're fine now.
All right,
that was the first time in the 36 minutes. So you caught a lag.
All right, cool. So let's real quick. College football starts this weekend. I don't want to get into we'll skip the realignment talk. We'll come back and talk that later. Week 0 is what this is being called. I think it's headlined really by two teams, by Notre Dame. They're literally kicking off the season in Ireland against Navy in Dublin. And then I guess the other kind of big name is USC. USC is taking on San Jose State. And so, you like to dabble in the sports entertainment world of betting. So I got a couple of odds here. These are point spreads, and I just want to get your take on what you think is going to happen in each of these games. So each of these games will take place on the weekend. Then I got one that's going to take place next week just because it has an SEC team that I wanted to talk about. So let's start off with the game taking place in Ireland. Navy versus Notre Dame. They're getting 20.5. If you had to take a bet, who you got?
I'm taking Notre Dame, man. I don't know. Maybe just because I watched a lot of Sam Hartman last year and paid a lot of attention to him like as a quarterback. I was so glad. I thought he was going to end up at Florida, and I didn't want Florida to get Sam Hartman. I thought, with the transfer portal. But like I think he's really good. Like I think he's really, really good. And so Notre Dame, to me, for a long time has been kind of like not great quarterback play. I don't know. I mean, and I don't know how long it's been since you had like a really pure passer. If it's like Jimmy Clausen or if it's later than that. I mean, or if it's a little earlier than that. But
I mean, Brady Quinn was after Jimmy. Was Brady Quinn after Jimmy? No, Jimmy was after Brady. Jimmy was after Brady.
Okay, yeah. So I just say that to say, I mean, Navy obviously always tries to control time of possession. So it's very difficult, unless you just get up on them quick and then they can't just keep running the ball. That's the only way to kind of score a lot of points. But, these two teams are very familiar with each other. They play every year, if I'm not mistaken, right?
They do every year.
Yeah. Ireland is going to be interesting. I don't know how early they get there. If there's going to be like a week before it, are they already there?
No, they showed up today. Notre Dame showed up today.
So Thursday, that jet lag, all that kind of stuff is like,
So I'll say this. So
I'm taking Notre Dame.
So I'll say this. Marcus, I guess he said that they showed up. They flew overnight, showed up at like 10 this morning. They're going to stay up all day, right? Because I guess the thing is they say is when you get to like a place like that is if it's nighttime where you are, don't go to sleep. Stay up. Make your body stay up because if you go to sleep, your whole clock is off, right?
Okay.
So they did that intentionally. I think he said they were going to have practice this afternoon at the stadium, and then enjoy the rest of their day. So, I'm going to take Navy. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, the emotional hedge.
I hope I'm wrong, but I think that Navy. So here's the thing: Navy fired Ken Niumatalolo. I think I said that right. They fired him. They replaced him. They have a new offensive system in place. It is still heavy on the triple option, but they're going to incorporate more passing. So this is the one time I feel like playing Navy to start your season is not the best thing because they're going to throw all these new wrinkles potentially that you haven't seen. So I'm going to take Navy 20.5. And if it's a 10-point lead at halftime, they're covering. I just want to say that. They're going to cover. Yeah. All right. So the second one on the list is Vanderbilt, 17.5-point favorites at home versus Hawaii. Who you got?
If I remember correctly, Vanderbilt won last year against Hawaii in Hawaii, and I think they won big. I think I was surprised.
It's not. This is
At
not the
how
Hawaii of June
much
Jones.
they beat Hawaii by.
This isn't Timmy Chang's Hawaii team. Oh my God, 63-10.
Yeah, that's what it was. I was so shocked because you back in the days, Hawaii put up lots of points, But yeah, and so now they get them at Vanderbilt. So I don't expect them to not cover 17 at home after beating the team by 53 points the year before. So yeah, I'm taking Vanderbilt.
Yikes! I didn't realize it was that bad. All right, the next one on the list, we got this is the nightcap. USC at home versus San Jose State, 30.5-point favorites. That's crazy.
30.5 is definitely crazy. Because you have to ask yourself too, in games like this, when Caleb Williams and they're up 35-7 or whatever, is he still playing? I guarantee you the backups are probably just 2 or 3 times better than San Jose State as well. So, and those guys want to get in and score touchdowns too. So I'm gonna take USC with the 30.5. Just at the hey, the backups are not, this isn't a team that Vanderbilt gets up, their backups is not going to put, 28 points on Hawaii. I could definitely see Caleb Williams playing half of this game, getting his 3-4 touchdowns, 200 yards. And in the second half, other guys coming in and getting and doing the same exact type work.
That's 30.5. Like
that. Now, is San Jose State like a great, are they, they're not like the, yeah.
We're not about to have an Appalachian State Michigan moment.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not going to have one of those moments. So that number.
The correct analogy there would be a Stanford USC moment. I don't know if you remember. That was like the biggest spread at that time.
When Harbaugh, you're talking about the Harbaugh season?
Yeah, I think it was with Harbaugh and Toby Gerhart. I don't know if Toby Gerhart was on that team, but I remember that USC or somebody was like a 30-point favorite, and they lost on like a fade touchdown in the back of the end zone or something like that. It was like one of the biggest spreads ever.
I'm going to see if I can find it just by a quick Google search. Oh my God. 2007. USC was a 41-point. USC was a 41-point favorite.
Yeah.
Dog.
Yeah. How crazy is that to be a 41-point favorite in interconference? Like you're playing another conference team and you're a 41-point favorite. That's disrespectful.
Dog, I would have thrown up. If I was on USC, I would have thrown up. Like,
imagine
there's no way I should be losing this game.
Like, dog, they got us losing by 6 touchdowns. I'm coaching the Pac-12.
Oh my!
They got me losing by 6 touchdowns.
Man, RIP Pac-12, by the way. RIP, man. It was a good run. God, that's crazy. Yo, just hold on. Let me just see if there are any Chauncey Washington. Oh, this is the John David Booty era of USC. Okay. So this is when it was falling apart.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. By the way, Jesse, since you said whoa, the Michigan fans in the room. This is the same year that Appalachian State beat Michigan in 2007. And imagine in a year where you were a 41-point dog and you win a game and it not be the biggest upset of the year.
That's crazy.
All right, last one. This is coming up next Thursday. I'm actually interested to watch this game. You got not USC. Sorry, got USC on the brain now. Florida, 5-point dogs going to Utah to take on Utah. Now, last year, Florida, behind an inspired performance from Anthony Richardson, pulled off the upset at home against Utah when they were like a top 10 team at that point. So how do you think this matchup goes now that it's a new era? Graham Mertz is now the starting quarterback at Florida going into Utah.
I laugh because when Anthony Richardson was rising up all of the draft boards for the NFL draft, every highlight was from the Utah game because there wasn't too much else to look at for
That
the
wasn't
rest
too
of
much.
the year last year. And so you're sitting
That
there
was the
watching
high
him. He's
point.
looking like a dog out there playing against Utah. Like, okay, I see you. I definitely know that Utah's returning Cameron Rising. Is that his name?
Cam Rising. Yeah, I think.
Cameron.
Yeah.
Okay. Very, very good quarterback, solid player. They lost last year, probably left a bad taste in their mouth considering they were favorited last year. That was, they finished the year, beating USC.
Strong. Yep, in the Pac-12 championship game. Although Caleb Williams did get hurt.
True. Now that they don't have that Florida loss, I don't remember what their final record was, but that they might have probably could have jumped into the top to be talked about as far as a playoff appearance, right?
I feel like they lost a game that they shouldn't have that kept them. So let's see. They started. Let me look at the full schedule here real quick. Give me back to the top. So they started the season by losing to Florida when they were a top 10 team. And then they lost to no, I'm thinking of Oregon. They lost to UCLA. So that was their second loss. So I mean that pretty much put them out of contention at that point.
But did
they
lose
had their
again?
Second loss. They lost to UCLA by 10.
Right. So like I'm saying, if they had beat Florida, they would have had one loss when they beat USC, right?
They probably make the playoff. Let me see. I'm just trying to make sure.
I all that to say, if there's anything I'm doing.
They lost to Oregon. Lost to Oregon by 3. Right. So that was the third loss. So there you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what the culture is like there at Florida. Everybody knows this is not the year Florida is supposed to be anything, and I don't know if like that's seeped into that locker room. I mean, I had a few people tell me like instead of a bye week that this is Florida's bye year, so that they can they got a highly touted quarterback coming in next year that they're all super excited for. But SEC football is a lot different. And where are we at? We're at the Swamp?
No, this is in Utah.
We're in Utah? Yeah, I'm taking Utah. I'm taking Utah by a touchdown.
Okay. Interesting. Losa, want to clip this and send it to you. All right.
Go parlay it right now. Everyone you just said.
All right, cool. See, I'll let us know what y'all think about that, man. Let's jump into it.